Hey everybody, welcome to episode 17. Today's episode we're going to do the I'm gonna go over the Return of the Jedi book and record. This is the 12-inch book and record. I got it yesterday. It came in. I ordered it just on kind of a fluke. I just saw it on eBay and I looked at the price and really, and it said it was sealed. So I ordered, and it was the LP as opposed to the cassette. Now I originally had the cassette as a kid back in '83, but I wanted the LP. Never got it. But it's essentially the same thing. So I wanted the LP this time since I collect records. I wanted to have the LP this time because I don't have a cassette player, and this is a lot more. It's going to last a lot longer. It's already lasted 40 years. I gotta say, peeling off the 40-year-old cellophane was pretty hard to do. I had to do it. I wanted to do it. I know it was sealed, and I was probably, I halved the value of it, $15. But I had to open it because I had, I'm going to eventually play it on a turntable, and I wanted to see that book on the book, right here. It says includes the 16-page full-color souvenir book, and I wanted to see that. And one of the reasons I wanted to see that is because when I originally got this, I got this at Kmart in Rochester, on top of the hill, if anybody's from Rochester. And my dad bought it for me. This is 1983. The movie had already come out. I saw this, and I was like, Dad, I gotta have that. And he's like, well, how much is it? I can't remember how much it was at the time. It might have been $3 or $4, I think. It wasn't super expensive. It was probably the price of a cassette tape at the time. So I ended up getting it, and I was so excited to get the tape out and listen to it, and I was so excited to get to it because the cassette would be here on the right, actually kind of up here. They kind of mounted this little thing, and it had like the same cover, but it had this little port for the cassette, and I got so excited I yanked it out. Well, when I yanked it out, I ripped the whole front cover of the booklet inside, because it was actually, the booklet was shown, and it was another little port. So I got really angry. And when I got home, I was like, it's such an idiot. Why didn't I had to, all the rest of the book was fine, but for some reason it made me so mad I threw away the book. And I don't even think my dad noticed I did that. So I only had the tape. I never had the rest of this. So, like I said, seeing this, just this image, I've seen this image tons of times. It's on the inside of the storybook. I had it as a screensaver for a while, for the longest time. I know the image, but just with the graphics and the 12-inch, format, and of course the back. I hadn't seen the back of this since 1983. Since I threw the whole thing out, I've never seen the back of this. I'm assuming it was the back. It looks pretty close. I think, like I said, I think it was just like a fake record jacket, and then it had the port for the cassette. So I opened it. It's in mint condition. The only thing I noticed, it was just a little scuffed, and this is probably because it's been dropped a couple of times. Even in the cellophane, it has a little bit of a ding in the corner. Otherwise, it is immaculate. There is nothing wrong with it. It is absolutely. It's like you walked into Kmart in 1983 and bought it right off the shelf. I put it in I put all my albums in these album sleeves. Just to protect it. So, but I am gonna pop it out here. Like I said, it's got the gloss to it. It smells old though. It smells like an old record store. I guess it's unavoidable, even inside cellophane, 40-year-old cellophane. I did throw away this 40-year-old cellophane. I'm not that insane. I didn't keep it and go, 40-year-old cellophane. But it's still glossy, and there's not a mar on it. Nobody's drawn on it. No writing on it. Sometimes you get records, even good. I've got some records on the wall up there. If you can see them, some of the good condition records, even they have little dings and stuff in it. But this is absolutely perfect. So, I'm only gonna pull this out. It's kind of hard to get back in, but I'm gonna pull out the disc just to show you. So that's kind of what the tape looked like. It had that red, white, and silver on it. So they got that as the label. Buena Vista Records presents. So I'm assuming it was by Buena Vista Records. Yeah, it's not that I would have cared, but and then of course, oops, kill it. In front of the disc, of course, is the booklet. So let's pop this guy back down in here. So yeah, so you'll be able to see it somewhere. I'm gonna put it on the screen. I've got an MP5 recording of it. So I'm gonna play just snippets because, like I said, I don't want to be. It's Return of the Jedi. It's Lucasfilm, and then Disney owns it now currently. So I don't want to get demonetized for, and especially if it plays some of the John Williams music. If I know that's on there, but I'm trying to kind of skip around. I'm just gonna play just snippets, just real quick pieces of it, just so you can kind of hear what it sounded like the narrator and how he talked. But I don't want to go too crazy with it. Like I said, I don't want to. But it's monetized now anyways. But I just don't want it to get pulled down or anything like that. So I'll just play little snippets of it. But here's the book. It's flawless. It's perfect. Back of it has Luke. That's that image. It's used on the storybook. I think it was on a coloring book as well. It's an iconic image. So yeah. So the interior. It's only 16 pages long, but now I'll tell you about this. There's the inside of the book. I said I don't have a PDF or anything to show you, so you'll just have to look at the book here. It's got the classic Darth Vader image that was on Time magazine. It's got the cover image, got the classic image with R2 and 3CPO walking to Jabba's palace, Jabba and Bib Fortuna, Bouche, or Bausch, I think he says Bouche in the cassette. I always called it Bausch. Because I just thought like Bausch and Lomb. My sister and my mom had contact lenses at the time, so I just kept calling it Bausch and Lomb. Bausch. But Chewbacca, my favorite scenes, the Jabba scenes. I mean, I like the other scenes too as well. It's just Jabba's stuff is my absolute favorite. That's a very classic, iconic image. I think that's the image on the action figure. Yeah, it's the image on the action figure. Little Denzians here, and I love Week Away. Week Away is one of my favorite characters. My favorite figures too. Actually, he's the one that's sitting in my loot box on Big Bad Toy Store, waiting for that Screech, so I can have them sent together. I just don't want to blow the $4 shipping on just one vintage Star Wars figure. But he's coming. We've got all of the pertinent, iconic images. And it's funny. I mean, you see this stuff, and obviously it's on cards, it's in storybooks, it's in books like this. You see these iconic stills from the movie so many times that the stuff's burned in your brain. And it's weird because I often say this when I see a lot of newer movies that I don't like, or even movies that are okay, is, because they don't have all of this peripheral, I mean, they do have some peripheral merchandise and stuff for popular movies, like Guardians of the Galaxy, stuff like that. None of the images in some of the newer movies ever stick in my brain. Like, I've got a few vague images that kind of here and there I can remember, but nothing burned into my brain like this movie. And the thing is, a lot of movies in the 80s are burned into my brain, and it's because of extra stuff like this, or pictures in Starlog magazine, or whatever. I mean, yeah, sure, you can go online, Google search images and stills and stuff, but because it's just a sea of it online, and you had a finite amount of things to get these images, you cherished them more, and you appreciated them more, and therefore I think they store in your long-term memory, longer. So that's towards the end. There's the final image here. May the Force be with you always. So that's the booklet that comes with it. Essentially, it's the cover. It makes me very happy owning this again, especially on LP. So let's. I'm going to play just a few snippets, and then I'm going to tell you some of my stories about it as well. There's a couple of classic things that happen. So let's see. Let's go with. Let's see. Put that on that screen. There's the image up there. I'm using the VLC to play it. Let's go with put me in the corner. Hello. All right, so I don't know where it's at. I think it's kind of sort of in your Jabba the Hutt. I just kind of skipped there. I'm going to skip over some of the music. Let's see. Okay.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Before long, they found themselves in Jabba's throne room, a dank chamber filled with a bizarre collection of alien beasts, bounty hunters, and revelers.
Revelers. What's a reveler?
But among these dregs of the galactic underworld, the most grotesque was their leader, Jabba the Hutt, a repulsive blob of bloated flesh who reclined on his immense throne like a gigantic slug.
Like me.
The revolting gangster greeted the droids in Huttese.
The message, Doctor, the message.
R2 beamed a holographic image of a black-robed figure before Jabba.
Greetings, Exalted One. I am Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight and friend to Captain Solo.
All right, let's stop it there. Like I said, I don't want to play a lot of it, but you can hear the narrator, how he narrates it, and then they bop back and forth with sounds, dialogue, music from the original movie. And it's funny because it's cool. It seemed like they mixed some of the music out of it so that they could fade it in with the narrator a lot better. Because some of those scenes, I know for a fact, you can hear the Williams score going on in the background, and you don't hear it on this. So that's kind of neat that they did that. They bring it in the dramatic scenes and pertinent areas. Kind of play in together with it as like you're reading it. Like I said, I probably don't remember them all now, but I mean, most of the reason I memorized the lines from the movie and the different scenes and everything because of this thing here. And I would play the tape. I mean, I had a little jam box. I put the tape in and I'd bring it with me with my action figures. And whenever I did my scenes and stuff, I would play this because he didn't have a VCR back then. We'd play this. And I would let it go, the different scenes, and I would act out with the figures, because like I said, I lost the book. So the book didn't really have much in it. I mean, it had the nice pictures, but it doesn't have you don't follow along with it. It's not like a read along. See, the reason I like this one better is because those 6-inch discs or 7-inch discs that had like the Darth Vader on the cover, and they had stuff for Empire and Star Wars they're just a single, so they're pretty short. They gloss through half the movie because they got for timing, they just whip through it. And they do that dumb thing to make you turn the page. It's like, when you hear R2-D2, turn the page. And that just gets annoying. And because there's no real book that you're actually following along with this, you don't have that. So that's another big plus about this, specific one. So it's more seamless. The only time you really had to take a break was when you had to flip over the cassette, to side B, and obviously with their album you'll have to flip over to side B on the album too as well. I just remember the last thing you hear right before you have to flip is it'll work, and I always wondered why he said that twice. Whenever I heard it'll work when they're on the shuttle together going to Endor, that's when you would have to flip the tape. I'm assuming it's the same with the album. You have to flip the album at that point. Maybe not. Like I said, I've listened to the actual album. This recording just goes through, I believe, the whole time. I haven't got to the part yet where it says, I don't think he even says, switch to side B. He might. That I can't remember. I think it'll work, and then it just goes silent, and then you knew to flip the tape. I actually think he does come in and say, continues on side B. But, so you heard a little snippet of it. Like I said, I didn't want to play a lot just because I didn't want to get it flagged. But, so my stories with this, I'm outside of the action figure thing, playing with it, I'd listen to it at night to go to sleep to. I was just bored in the summer, which that summer of '83 I was seldom bored, but, I'd come home, or maybe I wasn't feeling well, or had a sunburn from being at the beach or something, and just kind of wallowing around the house. I would just put this on and listen to it. I took it over to my mom's house, listened to it there. took it, at my grandma's house, listened to it there. Took it to my friends' houses. We listened to it there. I just kept listening over and over and over again. And it's funny, there are a few scenes in the movie that are cut out. So like when R2-D2 and 3CPO first come into Jabba's palace, and Bib Fortuna greets them there with the two Gamorrean guards. There's a little bit of an exchange. He basically just goes, "No ja," on this one, and then they kind of skip and go into the throne room scene. They kind of gloss over that little scene there. The Boba Fett scene is not in this, which was, I was like, oh, what is it? Boba Fett, flies up the sailbar, and attacks Luke, and Luke, it's, maybe that wasn't really super needed. So the Boba Fett scene's not in there. There's various scenes out, here and there. I think there's stuff from the, when the rebels get together in that one ship and have the debriefing. I think there's things missing from there. Yeah, it's 45 minutes long, so the movie's almost 2 hours or an hour and a half. So they're gonna condense it a bit. And I've got the movie. I've got the special editions, which I don't, on Blu-ray, which I don't like. I do have MP3 or AVI files or whatever, video files of all three movies, the uncut original versions. They're that, I can't remember the guy's name that did those. And those are the ones I watch. I put them on a thumbstick and I take them out to my big TV and I watch them that way. Because I refuse to watch the special editions. I absolutely refuse to watch them. I think they're just horrendous. So I have the original, like I said, and the big thing is they have the music in this for the Cy Snoodles and the Max Rebo Band and the Jabba scene, and I'm just so used to hearing that on this. So when they watch the movie, I want to hear that specific track. I want to hear that song. I don't want to hear the goofy thing that they got nowadays. Like I said, I think that those three girls that they added, the dance thing, was neat. I really like the whatever the red-haired girl is. I met her in person, by the way. I don't want that. I want the original movie. I was thinking about this. I think this might be a bold statement. I think Return of the Jedi is my favorite movie of all time. I mean, there's no other movie that I own this much paraphernalia for, or have ever had my entire life. Even when all the stuff was fresh and new. Sure, I had Raiders of the Lost Ark trading cards. I had a storybook. I had Clash of the Titans action figures. I've had a storybook for that. I've had Flash Gordon stuff. Flash Gordon's one of my favorite movies too. The De Laurentiis one from 1980 with Max von Sydow as Ming the Merciless. But anyways, I didn't really have a lot of stuff for that. I had the storybook and I had a couple other things. But Return of the Jedi, I had all the action figures, at least for the first 83 wave vehicles. I had the stuff like this thing. I had and I'm showing them to you all. I've showed storybook, sketchbook, movie magazine, you name it. So if you think about it, I don't think there is another movie that is is good. I could say is my favorite movie of all time. I can be cool and say, oh, it was Blade Runner, or oh, it was Alien, or something like that. But I didn't really watch that stuff when I was that age. I've seen lots of movies that are great. I've seen movies, people consider to be some of the best movies of all time. But to me, I think it's Return of the Jedi. It only makes sense. All the evidence is there. Even if I refuse to believe it, I think it's got to be, because there's no other movie that was involved in. So yeah, what do I want to say? A couple of other stories. Like I said, I had it on the cassette. There's a couple of things that had some kind of issues with it at certain times, though. I had the tape. When I lost the tape, I want to say it was probably 87, 86, 87. I think I still, when we moved from downtown Rochester up to the trailer park, I think I still had it and took it with me there. I believe, not 100% certain on that. But it got lost somewhere along the way. I mean, as did almost all of my stuff. You know, the comics, the sketchbook. You know, all that stuff ended up somewhere, and I have no idea where it went. I don't remember trading any of that stuff off. I don't remember selling any of that stuff off. I don't remember throwing any of that stuff away. You know, myself. It could have gotten thrown away by my parents or somebody, but I don't remember. I don't know where a lot of that stuff went. I mean, I remember some of my action figures. My grandma had this old garage in her old house too, but she had this old garage back there, and my mom didn't have the room to store all that stuff. And when I wasn't using it, I remember we put it in a big box because they didn't really have those plastic bins back then, but they had just a big box. And I didn't want to put it out there because there were spiders and all kinds of creepy crawlies, and the door didn't really open. It was broken. The door was broken, so you had to kind of like wedge yourself in to get into the garage. And once you got in there, it had that old garage smell, and it was just But anyways, that box sat in that for months, if not maybe a year. And I think that garage ended up having to be torn down, and I'm thinking that maybe that's when the stuff was gone. I remember going back in there and pulling out a few things that probably got lost somewhere, but the bulk of the stuff, like the Ewok Village, the most of the vehicles, the Millennium Falcon, my Death Star, all that stuff ended up in that box. It was a big box. It was like a box for like not like a washing machine, but it was just it wasn't really that tall, but it was really wide. And it had all that stuff in there. So it probably, when that garage ended up falling down, and my grandma had to pay somebody to come and, you know, take all that debris away, it probably, either those guys probably saw it and went, Star Wars figures, and I don't know, maybe I'm just making this up, but you know, I think that's when I lost most of it, which is a shame, you know, because obviously to get that stuff back, it's astronomical, the price to buy any of that stuff. You know, I've got some of them in the retro form. I'm hoping they'll do more. That's pretty much the closest thing I can get to replacing that collection. And I'm buying some of the vintage too, because like I said, it's a nice proxy for those figures as well. But, you know, I mean, you can keep your Black Series, you can keep your fancy schmancy stuff, you know, your 6-inch articulation with washing and all that. I want my original figures back. I don't care how, you know, inferior people think they are. I mean, I don't want them because I want a superior action figure. I don't want them because I want to sell them, you know, and make, you know, tons of money. I want them just because I had them and I lost them and I want them back. So, let's see. It's like probably end it here. What are we at? 23 minutes? Well, can pad it out a little bit, I guess. Put this stuff back together. So yeah, there was the book again, and there's the sleeve. I just got it on a shelf over there right now so I can look at it. But at some time, I need to get putting my records on the walls. Okay, they're all sleeved, so the pins are in the sleeves, but I need to have a better way of storing my my record collection, and this will probably just go in the record collection because it doesn't fit on the little shelf I got over here with the books. It's like anything over 11 inches just doesn't fit on the shelf, and that 11 inches is a pretty tight fit. So with this, it's you know, it's 12-inch disc, so obviously it's too big, but like I said, there it is. I love it. So like I said, I couldn't spend my money fast enough on this. I mean, as soon as I saw this and I saw that price, and then I realized, oh, we only want $6 for shipping, so, you know, it's going to be $21 plus tax. I just, before anybody got to it, because I saw there was like a bunch of people watching it. You know, I didn't make them an offer or anything. I just said, take it. You know, I was half believing that it probably would not be sealed, or that it was wrong, or was missing something. But, you know, I mean, he had good reviews and everything, so I trusted that it came. I also didn't know when it was going to come. It came quick. I mean, it came within a week. And then when I got it, I was just like, oh my goodness, there it is. So that is the Return of the Jedi book and tape, or book and record. It's called The Story of Star Wars. Includes it says dialogue and music, from the original motion picture soundtrack. I don't know what they technically. I mean, everybody calls these book and records or book and tapes, but I guess that's what it's called. Because it really doesn't say, like, it doesn't give it a classification. So, I still just call it the Return of the Jedi, I guess. Because, like I said, book and record makes you think that you're going to follow along with the book. I guess it's just the movie record or something. Movie recording, whatever. But, alright, tomorrow, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. Supposedly, I haven't gone through my Ninja Turtles action figures yet. My Playmates Ninja Turtles. I just recently started picking them up. And I've got most of them that are out. They have a special set that came with some that I don't have. It came with 2 that I do have. One I don't mind having duplicates because it's the Foot Soldier. And the other one, I was keeping the package because I've opened them all. I've got them over on the shelf over there. Yeah, let me get this off so you guys can see a little better here. But I ordered a set, and it says it's supposed to come tomorrow, so I don't know if it'll be here tomorrow. If it is, I'll do a video on it, and then I'll show the rest of my turtles that I have. Yeah, that's really the only thing I've got coming. I mean, I said Screech and that Weak Way. Snake Mountain's still a little ways out. Next month, all of that Superpower stuff's supposed to come in from that pre-order, and I don't know when. Probably at the end of the month, most likely. And I still have to track down the Black Mana Walmart exclusive. Hopefully get him too, because you couldn't pre-order him, at least not yet. I might be able to get him on. You can't pre-order him on Walmart, but Walmart's website is useless. So, I mean, once in a while you can get something on there, but I probably have to just trek over to Walmart and keep checking on it. But, alright. So let's end this video now. It's 27 minutes, so it's pretty much a half an hour. And I'll pick up tomorrow with that, unless I do something different. Anything else on the horizon that I know of? Not that I know of, but I'll think of something. Something will come to me, and I'll talk about it and tell you all my stories and everything about it. Other than that, I'll catch you guys later, and see you next time. Bye-bye.